Hello, my songwriter friends, or maybe people who aren't even songwriters who are just interested in learning about the art, and it is an art, of songwriting. Um, I've got my guitar today. This is a song I wrote when I had just started a band with some guys. We had jammed one time, and I was like, oh my goodness, everyone's really talented, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But I wanted to write a rock and roll song for this rock and roll band and a guitar song, and I wanted it to be a little odd and all those things, and hopefully I accomplished it. What I wanted to talk about in this, as a sort of preamble to this song, is the idea of a comedy song versus a song with humor in it. Because I've written songs that are straight jokes, like just hitting you with jokes. This song has a joke in it, and there's humor in it, and kind of a silly story element to it. But it's not meant to be super funny, except for one line, which I think is particularly funny. But anyway, we'll probably talk more about that as we go forward. But so this song starts with this riff. I don't know. This was just easy for me to play. And somebody will know what scale it is. But it sounds a little bit weird, a tiny bit disjointed to me. So the song opens where I'm singing it. I'm right in your face. I don't care that you might judge me. I know you still think she's sexy. Let's just talk about that little part. One thing lyrically that I'm doing, well, first of all, this is pretty hooky. I don't care that you might judge me. I know you still think she's sexy. I'm presenting questions. So you know those movies where it's like, or stories where it's like, here's a bit of information. You're like, what does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? What's the next thing? Where are they? You know, in movies, every scene that you is supposed to answer a question and raise another question. Answer a question, raise another question. I guess I'm kind of employing that sort of thing in this song. When I'm writing songs, again, it's a very organic experience, and there's often a lot of scribbling, or now I do it on a notepad thing in my phone or whatever, but I'll backspace, get rid of that line, adjust it, whatever. And the thing will unfold. But oftentimes I'll go, whatever I'm thinking, and start singing gibberish. And through that, something will come out. And it might have been, I don't care that you might judge me. Or I may have been in verse 2 and written that first, and then come back and gone, okay, let me start the story here. How am I going to introduce this idea? So, and I don't remember how I did that here, but I'm not necessarily starting with, okay, I'm going to write a song. I haven't told you what the impact is yet, but I'm going to write, well, you can see in the title, I'm going to write a song about a mermaid. But how am I going to present this? Oh, well, this will be. I don't care that you might judge me for, sleeping with a mermaid. But anyway, so it didn't necessarily happen that way. But that's how it comes out now. That was how I finished it. I don't care that you might judge me. Why would we judge you? I know you still think she's sexy. Who are you singing about? And then a little bit more of a hint. The ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. Spent a year walking the floor of the sea. The ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. What a weird line. when I was thinking about doing this, I was like, maybe I should rewrite that, because the ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. I don't say ain't in my day-to-day life. I don't know why I feel it's okay that I can put it in songs, but I do it all the time. I just think that it's in songs, it's in country, it's in rock and roll. Ain't is just something you can put in songs. You're allowed. Even if you never say ain't, you're just not that person, you can still put it in a song. By the way, this is so generic almost. My guitar isn't entirely in tune. It sounded good, so why am I not using it? Can you think of a song that does that? If you can, put it in the comments. But there's another thing that happens in that line. The ocean's bottom ain't foreign. If I'm going to say the word foreign, I'm going to say foreign, not ain't foreign. That is a pet peeve of mine. So if I was going to rewrite this song, I would or that line, which maybe I should, I would start there. Like I go, I can't go foreign. I need to find another way of doing this. Alanis Morissette loves putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. I am a firm believer in writing a song, a lyric, the way you would say it. The ocean's bottom isn't foreign to me. The ocean's bottom isn't foreign to me. The ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. Ain't foreign. It's just not the same as I would say it. So this time it's subtle, but sometimes you hear it where it's like, oh my goodness, nobody would say the word that way. No one would put the emphasis on that. And you're singing it that way, like it's okay. I don't like it. I will always point it out if I'm talking to someone. I've done it with a friend of mine who will show me a song, and I'll go, yeah, it's nice, but this emphasis is wrong. And sometimes you can just put leave a bit of a space before you say the word. That can solve it. Like sometimes it's an easy fix, but it's just a pet peeve of mine. Do it if you want. It's a pet peeve of mine. The ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. See what I mean if you put a pause there? The ocean's bottom ain't foreign to me. That won't really work in what I want to do musically here, so. Spent a year walking the floor of the sea. Oh, that's one of those little changes where. So to go to A7th, a little bit of a deviation from the normal thing, which is nice to throw that in there. Ooh, my affair with the mermaid. So. That's it. The ocean's bottom isn't foreign to me. I've been down there. I spent a year walking the floor of the sea. A year, what? Ooh, my affair with the mermaid. So I've presented the idea. Now, if we're talking about the difference between a hilarious comedy song and something like this, which is a song with humor in it, this is one kind of rule, and I won't go into great detail about it because this isn't about writing a comedy song. But a comedy song, I think you want to be funny from line one. You want to say something that's really funny right out of the gate, and be doing jokes like instantly. This, you get what it's about like 4 lines in, on the 5th line or whatever. There's a lot of time that's passed before you go, oh, this is my affair with the mermaid. But if you're writing comedy songs, be funnier quicker. In this case, it's okay to take the time to say, oh, what's this about? And then, oh, it's actually about having an affair with a mermaid. So verse 2, we go, underwater things are weightless, and swimming's tough, so chicks are fit. So I'm doubling down on I'm adding to the humor, and I'm adding to the kind of the story. I'm world building in a sense, but in a cheeky way. Underwater, things are weightless. the purpose of that line is to imagine sexy things that might be enjoyable to see weightless. I'm not going to go into great detail, Mom. And swimming's tough, so chicks are fit. It's not necessarily a PC concept, but this is going like women are very sexy underwater. And then this is where the hardest joke of the song comes in. When I get wet, it makes me think of her. So, as you can probably do the math on that joke. Her skin, her scales, her floating long blonde hair. Ooh, my affair with the mermaid. So, what happened in that verse is, like I said, world building. And I also got specific about certain things that were exciting for me in having an affair with a mermaid. Her skin, her scales, her floating long blonde hair. I'm just painting more of a picture. And I'm not that great when it comes to being specific in songs. And I'm sure that's going to come up in future episodes. Being very specific. Tom Waits is amazing with that, where he's mentioning street names and food that they're eating and just all sorts of very specific things. I'm not that good at that. I am more of a broad strokes person. I like to say, like, what is the emotion here? How am I feeling about this? What kind of happened? You know, this is a big idea about love that I have. Those are the types of things that I do. Don't necessarily learn from me in that way, because I think that it might be a good idea to be more specific. A lot of people do it. And sometimes I really connect to that, but I also connect to big ideas. It's good to add world building. I like that I did it here with humor. This song, of course, the emotional impact is less, but so what is it that's interesting? What is it that's fun? And it's like this imagining, oh, what is this world like? What is it like to be underwater, having an affair with a mermaid? And I went with sort of a little bit bass, humor-driven, sexy ideas. Then verse 3 is barely a verse. I go, na 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 na. Na 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 na. Remember, I was writing this song for this band. I was excited about rock and roll. And that there's a purpose behind even that. One, I probably couldn't think of like, what else do I have to say here lyrically? I don't really have any idea that I want to put there. But also, just to have the opportunity to go, na 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 na, is fun. That is fun. And when we would play it live, I'd say, everybody, na 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 na, and get them to do the na-nas with me, na na na, and I go, great. So it adds to the fun. I think that that's important when you're writing a song. And some people, like the whole song, you know, they've written it. Ooh, it's starting to rain. They've written it to be a fun song. Like, this is going to be a great live song that people are going to be able to get into. I bet you folk singers wrote songs just so they could be like, all right, you guys are going to be my pigs over there. You guys are going to be my horses. Okay, so you guys oink when I go, and the pigs go oink. You know, there's songs designed for that experience. I won't say that this song is entirely designed for that, but it's fun to think of those things. Well, you'd be tempted to if she swam up to you, saying, baby, are you looking for something new? Oh, my affair with the mermaid. the whole song, I guess, has a bit of an air of, is there shame associated with this? I don't care that you might judge me. I know you still think she's sexy. Well, you'd be tempted too if she swam up to you, saying, baby, are you looking for something new? That song also elicits a little bit of a chuckle, and it's kind of like, if you imagine how weird it would be. This is the other thing about songwriting or writing in general, which is such a pleasure. And it's good to think about. In this case, this is a bit over the top. It's a bit of a big idea. A little, again, silly. But if you're writing a song and you're like, I've never experienced, let's say, the death of a loved one to the disease of alopecia, just to make it timely. If you've never experienced that, but you want to write a song about it, you still can. You just have to put yourself into that mindset, right? You have to imagine and then write from that experience. Be in the character that the song, who is like the person who is narrating your song. You have to be in that character. Not every song, depends on what kind of songwriter you are, but not every song has to be a real lived experience and intensely personal. You should have, hopefully some sort of idea of how something feels in order to, sing to have some sort of emotion. So it can't be completely alien, but it doesn't have to certainly be your lived experience. So in this case, I did not have an affair. I hate to break it to you. I did not have an affair with a mermaid, but I'm imagining what it's like for this person who did. Why did he enjoy it? And then at the same time, he's defensive about wanting to do that. And that's an element that's in there more than one time. I've fleshed that out as much as you can in a song. Well, maybe not as much as you can, but as much as I felt the need to in this particular song. So, and I do it seriously, and this, you're gonna find that in the next. It's commitment. You're gonna find that in the next section here. Commit to your concept, even if it's silly. That's really all you can do. Yes, it's silly. You might say it's tongue-in-cheek. You got to commit to the emotion behind it. And then we go to our little bridge. But I knew that our time had come when the water muddied up my song, and I knew that I'd have to leave her, 'cause underwater everything's a blur. That I employ a similar, like we go, the ocean's bottom ain't foreign, right? But I knew that I'd have to leave her. I knew that It has a similar movement. It's not a complete, absolute deviation from the theme, but the feeling of the song completely changes from we're being a little bit more full on rock and roll, and then we bring it down. I go, bring it down. When I knew that our time had come. Now we take the song to a new level with the bridge, and this is part of the whole subverting the narrative. This is so great I'm having a great time with this sexy mermaid. I don't even care. You can judge me. I don't even care. It was amazing, okay? But it only lasted a year. What happened? Well, I knew it had to end because the water, and then again, this is very true to how things would be. The water muddied up my song. I want to make music. I want to do this thing. I can't. I'm not a mermaid. So it's muffled to me. I can't hear it. I can't sing properly without the bubbles and what have you. And I knew I would have to leave her because underwater, everything's a blur. You know, there's got to be a metaphor there. And when I perform it and when you write it, you know, to do that again, seriously, commit to it. Because underwater, everything's a blur. Oh, everything's. The other thing I do there, which is a very simple little thing, and this is, I'd like to speak to this sort of idea. When people are writing songs off loops, someone's produced a beat for them and they're just singing to that, you're limited. This is why it's good to have some sort of rudimentary knowledge of how to play an instrument, because or just to turn that off and think about going beyond that and then get your producer to fix that for you. And I don't know if people are doing that, but if you're constantly like beholden to a loop, you can't do something nice like this, which is go, I go to my C and then the E minor, 'cause the water muddied up my song. And then when I go, everything's a blur, I don't go to the E minor. It's just, it's a subtle change from going, I knew that, to the E minor, to not going to the E minor, but staying on the C, and then go right to the D. It changes, it moves the song along nicer. And I did that again, I'm sure, organically. I wasn't like, oh, let's change it. It just didn't make sense when I'm going, underwater, everything's a blur. Oh, you know, it just feels better. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. Don't be stuck on the chord progression that you've chosen, or like nothing ever has to be the same. You can constantly be changing your last chord. Everything is dynamic. Everything's in flux. Everything can move. This might seem obvious, but it might also be liberating to someone who's like, oh, I don't always have to go back. I can move to something complete. Yes, change it. And I do that again in this song. It's kind of, I don't know, I don't do it in every song I ever written, but so I go, underwater, everything's a blur. And then I go into kind of like an extra verse, but with a completely new delivery. When I get wet, it makes me think of her. Oh, her skin, her scales, her floating long blonde hair. And then there's no we love repeating things. People love hearing things repeated. You want to play a chorus over and over again. You love to repeat repeat verse 1 again. But what are you doing, and how are you doing it differently in order to keep it interesting? You can't just go, and then we repeat verse 1 again, then we repeat. Like when I started songwriting, that was kind of what I did. I was like, okay, we'll just repeat verse 1 again, and we can stretch the song out, and it'll be 3 minutes if I just repeat these things enough times. Then we can kind of do it like maybe a little bit, like we'll just do single strums instead of. That's not that great, but if you can find a dynamic musical way of changing. So in this case, I'm building out of my bridge, which has a new musical idea, into a verse 3, which is almost, in a sense, like a bridge. It's almost like its own ending. Yes, it's the same chords, the same notes, but I'm singing it so differently that it's a new idea. And after I've given you the information of how it ended and the fact that I didn't really want it to end, but it had to, and I came to grips with the fact that it had to end because I couldn't sing anymore. I couldn't, it muddied up my song. Everything was a blur to me. And because of that, and again, commit. It's a silly idea, but commit to it. And because of that, I go back to when I get wet, it makes me think of her. Now that is still, was funny and sexy. And what does that mean? Now I feel like the impact of that line changes to being like something. It's serious all of a sudden. It's like, the sexual element is almost gone, and you're just left with this sadness, and then remembering her skin, her scales, her floating long blonde hair. And then we go into this just last sort of repeated, my affair with the mermaid. And instead of going to the G, I want to repeat this, so I hit a C. Oh, my affair with the mermaid. My affair with the mermaid. And then I throw a B minor in there just to be a goofball. And all those little pieces were inspired, it's not necessarily how I always write songs, but because I was jamming with these guys and they were all so talented, I was like, oh, I want to be weird with this. And it's not even that weird in hindsight, but it's just taking those extra steps to add those details in that you would get to in a production, but you are writing them in there. So you have dynamics, you have impact, and you have changes that the band will also respond to. Because when you go like, ooh, my affair with the mermaid, when you go to that C, you need a like shh, Oh, my affair. There's automatic, like you've built the stops into it. All of this stuff is in the writing. You have so much power in your writing. Use it. The highlight for me is the idea that if you're writing something outside of your what you understand, own it and dig into it in a serious way, and be true to the narrative of the song, and take it seriously, even if it's silly. I love to commit, and that's the word, commit to it. I love to commit to a silly idea and take it seriously. And in doing that, I think this song came out with a great, impactful ending, even though it was silly. Let me know about songs that you've committed to, and ideas that you've committed to. I don't know. I'm not good at this, like calling people to comment, but put a comment Write a comment, okay? Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe. I hope this is helpful for someone. And we'll see you next week with another song that I wrote.